How have you been anyways?
But no, I've been not close to excellent, but not quite excellent.
Okay.
What about you?
1 to 10, how have you been?
Like 8.
Okay. That's really good.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say I'm about like a 7. It's been a long week. It's been
above average.
Yeah, for sure. I think 6 is probably average.
I think 5 by definition is average.
By definition, 5 is average.
Yeah.
But I think when you're talking like,
if you say 5, that sounds like you're being negative.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if you said, "Oh, my week was a 5 out of 10," people are like, "Oh, bad week." But no, it was average.
It was average. No, it's just been a long, tiring week.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of things, a lot of good things happening. But
really,
yeah.
Name 3.
Well, I mean, college started back up, which is
okay.
Cool. So fun to be back in college.
Fair.
Fun to see everyone again from college.
Right.
And then does that count as 1 or 2?
Yeah, that's 1.
That's 1. Okay. And something else. Freshers Week was last week.
Okay.
There's a lot of new people introduced to the stuff that we do. Also, UCD beat Trinity in a football game.
Okay.
So that's my 3rd one.
That is exciting.
4-2.
4-2.
Yeah.
Good game or what?
Great game.
Okay.
Great game. Couple of good goals.
Nice.
And I think just a good day out for everyone.
Did you score any? No.
No, I was holding the line.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
the big dog in defense.
The big number 6.
I heard you were
Regista.
roughing up their star player. That's what I heard.
Who's their star player?
What's his face? That guy.
Oh, that guy.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, man.
The guy said you were man marking.
Oh, there was one guy that was really good on their team. Yeah, and I was trying to slow him down a bit.
Trying or succeeding?
No, to be fair, I think he definitely got the better of me at like a few occasions.
Once or twice.
Once or twice.
Lost the battle, won the war.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Well, I mean, until next year.
Okay, rematch?
It's going to be an annual thing. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think it's just a means of getting everyone together, and it was really good for that.
Okay, a little grudge match or what?
A little what match?
Grudge match?
What is that?
You don't know what a grudge match is?
No.
You know what a grudge is?
Yes. So what's it?
Just a match.
Oh, just like a rematch.
I'm sorry, listeners, that Dion does not know what a grudge is.
I know what a grudge. What's a grudge? I've never heard grudge match before.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard.
Whoa, wait, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?
Oh, I'm talking to our very special guest on today, and we're not going to introduce her yet, but she is joining us for Encounter today. What's her name?
Faustine.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Faustine. We're very excited to have you on. Do you hear that little music in the background?
Yeah, I do.
That was cool, right?
Yeah,
it was very
we
cool.
should probably tell our guests before the music is going to come on.
Oh, true.
I recognized it though.
Great.
Okay,
Because you've been
super fan?
watching, right?
I have been watching.
Yeah.
I'm a super fan.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Well, what brings you here? How have you come to Radio Maria?
I've come to Radio Mirror because I'm friends with you, Dion. So
Fair.
Dion invited me on. I guess because I'm an interesting person.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was over the summer when I was making like a list of people that I wanted to bring on. You were definitely on them because I knew you hadn't been on before. Mm-hmm. But it was I think Thursday and I didn't have a guest yet.
Okay.
And I asked around like the chaplaincy and ECD, and like everyone was just saying no, because obviously people are busy, like, and that's fair enough.
Right.
And then I saw Faustine, and it clicked.
He
Fair.
just pointed at me and said, "You haven't been on Radio Maria."
Fair.
Quite literally what happened as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But cool, that's how you're here.
That's exciting.
Cool. How have you ended up in Ireland? What's your
Oh
story?
yeah, they might
My
not have been
story.
able to tell that you have an accent.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have an English accent, but I'm from France, so
All right, mate.
not that kind of English accent.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm French. I lived 8 years in London.
Okay.
So that explains the accent. But then I moved back to France. And then I kind of arrived here. It was really God working because I had a few options. I knew I wanted to study abroad. So I was just looking at universities and stuff. And then there was this kind of double diploma. So I do law and French law. So Irish law for 2 years and then French law for 2 years in France. And I didn't really want to do that, but I just put it anyways. And then I wasn't able to get into the university I wanted. And then suddenly all my options looked so dark. Like I was just like, whoa, I don't want to do any of this. And this just seemed like the perfect thing. So I just came, and I have not regretted it.
Okay.
Not one
fair.
bit. Yeah.
Was this your first time in Ireland?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Interesting.
That's amazing. What was it like moving over actually away from your family?
It was very exciting. So I was a bit nervous because I've never, like it's completely new, and I was 17 at the time. So
Wow.
it was kind of scary.
Yeah.
But I don't know, immediately, like at UCD, there are the focus missionaries who they're just great at welcoming people. And I got immediately roped into the community.
Okay.
And welcomed, and it kind of felt like I just found a family. I just found friends. And so it was actually pretty easy getting in, and just the whole year was a rush of excitement and joy. Yeah. So
Fair.
That's amazing. Were you into your faith before you came to UCD, or was it the Focus Missionaries that?
yeah. So I grew up Catholic. I grew up Catholic. My family has a strong faith, mostly through my mother. And yeah, I guess what kind of happened this year was rediscovering my faith. Because like when you're a child, you discover a lot of things, and I feel like you have a very simple heart, and you just accept that, like, yeah, it's possible that there's a God and that he can, healing the sick. Yeah, that's cool. That's 100% possible. And then growing up, I feel like you kind of just I rediscovered how great God was. And especially delving into my faith. So discovering, hey, why do I actually believe this? Why do we do this at Mass? Where does it come from? So that's kind of the process I've been going through last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
There you go. You moved over to Ireland when you were quite young as well.
Yeah, I was 17 when I moved too.
Oh, class.
Yeah.
And then
Let's go.
Yeah.
seems to be the age to move.
Yeah, that's the age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I probably wouldn't recommend it.
Really.
I think it's too young to move, in my opinion.
As in, did you find it tough when you moved over?
I just think it's very young. I mean, it depends on the person, but I think even 18, I think is kind of young to leave your family. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah.
Your
to
experience.
each his own.
To each his own. One of Keane's quotes.
Yeah. I invented that saying.
To each his own. I don't think you did. To each his own.
To each his own. Yeah. You can believe that, bro.
No, that's really cool. Yeah. I think it was definitely very similar experience for me as well. I think coming into college, and I think it's a rediscovery that definitely started in probably same as you started in college, but it's an ongoing rediscovery, and it's just an ongoing learning process. And it's like the most fertile soil in terms of like it's like the best place to be if you're someone that's looking for that rediscovery.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really cool. And then so you moved over to, hold on, so you were born in London.
Yep.
Then moved back to France.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a big family, or is it?
Yeah, so I have 4 siblings. Well, 2 older siblings, 2 younger siblings, and then 1 half brother, because my parents are divorced, which also played into my faith because I live with my mother. My dad lives in Hong Kong. So living with my mother, seeing as she has a really strong faith, especially seeing her not really go through the divorce because I was too young to kind of see her walking through it, but just the fact that my mother has stayed faithful, and it's been a really big inspiration for me because she's just, God is just a rock for her. And so that's really made me grow in my faith. Like she's kept us close to the Lord. So so I do have a big family and a lot of siblings. And I think it helps. It's definitely shaped me. It's had a big impact on me. Yeah.
Interesting. What would you say is like the boundary of what makes something a big family?
Oh, see, I come from a very small family.
Yeah, me too.
So for me,
I used to think 3 kids was big.
no, not for me. I would say I would say 5. Anything more than 5 is big for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So 4's not big.
4 is middle.
It's like, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think 3 is kind of big. 4 is for sure big.
I think it also depends if you're the child or the parent.
Okay. Maybe.
Right? Because I think
Yeah.
taking care of 4 kids is rough.
Could be a lot.
Could
Yeah.
be a lot.
Yeah. I think it's if you grow up and let's say you're the first child, then you spend some time in a very small family.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if like whereas like the younger
Next sibling comes along, gets all the attention.
Yeah.
That was me.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, because you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest. Yeah.
Okay, I'm the eldest.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a decent gap between me and my sister. So I was 6 or 7 when she was born. So there's like
Okay.
6 or 7 years between
That's
us.
so crazy because like I cannot imagine that. You know what I mean?
What?
What?
Like you're like 8 and all of a sudden you have like a new sibling.
A sibling, yeah.
That's so
that was
random.
a very, very cool time. Especially because you're really excited. You're like, oh my goodness. Like you go around telling everyone, like, oh, I have a new sister, I have a new little sister.
Okay.
Everyone in the entire school knew I had a new sister.
Oh, that's so
Okay.
cute.
That's
Yeah. No, she's great. Joanne's great.
Joanne.
She's probably watching.
Interesting.
Shout out.
Hello.
Fair.
Class, what's the next question we
Speaking of names, your name is Faustine.
Yes.
Is that a French name?
Yeah, but it comes from Saint Faustina, and I think
Okay.
you know her because for the people who are watching,
realize that's so cool.
you
Yeah,
have
okay.
in the studio there's this banner of Christ, Jesus Christ, and it's him as he appeared in a vision to Saint Faustina. It's revealing his mercy. So yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
it comes from her. She's Polish.
Yeah, I knew that. Kowalska, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Do you have a connection to Poland or no?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's actually the name Faustine is like the
It's
French
pretty
version
common.
of it, and it's pretty common.
Okay.
I'd say increasingly.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone.
It's the only
Whoa.
Faustine I know.
you don't find it in Ireland at all.
Yeah.
So-
I only know one other Dion.
Who's the other Dion?
Dion Sanders.
No, but like who's the other
That
Dion?
spells it your way?
That you like know personally. You don't know Dion Sanders
No,
personally.
I never met him.
No, okay.
He's never had the opportunity to meet me, I guess.
His
Do you know
boss.
his nickname is Primetime. You
Yeah.
know this. His nickname's Primetime. So Greg Johnson, every time he sees me, he refers to me because Greg's big into like American football and he plays obviously. So he always calls me Primetime. And there's someone in the NFL whose name is Greg Johnson,
Oh.
and his nickname I think is Megatron.
Okay.
Primetime and like Primetime's very easy to say, it rolls off the tongue. Megatron is such a mouthful.
Sounds like a
so every time,
transformer.
yeah, it's exactly sounds like it probably is a transformer.
Probably.
And so
Yeah.
every time I see Greg, he wants me to call him Megatron, and he'll come up and be like,
Okay.
"Oh, Primetime, what's up?" I'm like, "Hi, Megatron."
Okay.
Yeah. So
Fair. Do you think you can pick your own nickname or no?
I don't think Greg
no,
would change.
I don't think
What nickname would you pick
for Greg,
for you?
for me,
Yeah. Pick your own.
people when I was in school, they used to call me. People call me Dalbert. 'Cause my
Okay.
second name is Albert.
Albert.
So it was just D Albert, so Dalbert.
That makes sense.
But I like Primetime.
Okay.
I actually really like Primetime. I think Primetime's a cool one.
Okay.
It's got a cool story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also then people come up with weird ones.
Really.
People call me
D-Money.
No. No, I wouldn't want D-Money is just weird.
Really?
D-Money is so weird.
You don't like that?
When I first met Neil, he called me Dijon.
I feel like I remember.
Or no, sorry.
feel like
he
I've heard
spelled
him say
he
that.
spelled my name Djon because he thought it was like
Dion.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then people started calling me Dijon, and then Dijon mustard. So it was like this
Right.
Change.
progressive
Yeah.
change in my nickname. I don't like Dijon or Dijon
Okay.
mustard.
Do you like the mustard though?
No,
Not a mustard.
You
guy.
don't like mustard?
no,
I don't
mustard.
either.
I probably wouldn't notice mustard if like mustard was like if you gave me something that contained mustard in it.
What?
As in like no, as in if
Like
it
a
was
burger.
yeah, and if it was
You're
like,
okay with that?
I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
wouldn't. But then if someone gave me a choice to like, okay, would you want mustard on your hot dog? I would say no.
Yeah. No. I'm
Yeah.
the same.
Interesting.
No, we went way off topic there.
Yeah.
I'll let you pick the next question.
But yeah, so how is your faith kind of, like you're mentioning, since starting university, it's kind of developed a little bit. How kind of has it developed from sort of being something that you inherited from your family to being something that you've made your own? And like, what does that change look like?
Yeah, that's a great question because you've exactly described what happened. It really became mine. I think it came through. So the first big change was reading the Bible.
Okay.
I'd tried before, but not very successfully. And through the Focus Missionaries and also through speaking to Protestants, I just kind of like discovered the amazing, I don't know, resource is the word that comes to mind, but it's not accurate at all. The amazing gift that it is. Yeah, so just making it like through Lectio Divina, reading every day, and just sometimes I would just like, after a day, I'd open my Bible, and then the words just spoke to me. It was just exactly what I needed to hear, or just it answered my situation perfectly. So that was one of the big changes. And also that's how I grew, and I'm still growing in my knowledge of God and like recognizing how he would speak to you, like his voice kind of. And then I'd say also through just asking questions. I think I'm not very scared to ask questions to people. And when one comes up about my faith as well, through meeting Protestants, like they also go, and there are differences. And when you see someone who has a different faith, you wonder why there's those differences. And it's like, hey, yeah, that's something. We have the same basis and then these different beliefs. So why is that? And I guess linked to that is my rediscovery of the Eucharist. I think it's always been a place of encounter for me with Jesus, especially as a young child. But I've just rediscovered its importance, and it's such an anchor for me. It's just crazy because it's not like, because we have adoration every day, so I try and go when I can, and at Mass as well. And it's not like I feel this wave of or like tingling in my heart, but it's kind of this very peaceful, settled knowledge that I can't pinpoint. And sometimes I feel a lot of doubt, but it's kind of as if the heart is simple. And when I just actually just go to my heart, yeah, the answer is just this very firm knowledge, an encounter with Jesus through the Eucharist. That was a mouthful, but that would be how I've grown in my faith. Just, yeah, and through talking about it as well with people. Right. Yeah, because when people have questions for you as well, it makes you, like right now I'm talking about my faith, and I'm also realizing things that I've lived. Yeah. Yeah.
And what is like, do you follow a specific structure with reading the Bible, or do you kind of just like open it, or what?
So I started off, in my Bible study, we had a Lectio Divina, so like actual extracts that kind of went with the Bible study. And the leader also gave me, well, she's Eva Conroy, actually. She used to work here. She also gave us like a methodology sheet, and the steps are roughly like, first, I just open in prayer. Like, you have to pray when you're reading the Bible, because if like you gotta have God's help to if you actually want to meet him. So I would like just open up thanking the Lord, asking him for his help, for the Holy Spirit to guide me, and then reading over the passage like several times, with different objectives, kind of. So the first is just basically like, do I understand what's happening in this passage? And then there would be, okay, now what is God telling me today through this? And then it would be, what am I going to change in my life based on this? So, and then ending in praise and thankfulness. Yeah, I'd say that's roughly what I follow, or try and follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. So I just want to get back to when you said about like spending time with Protestants. Could you expand on that a bit more?
Okay, yeah,
Just
because that's a big one.
Yeah.
Like, definitely. Okay, so in UCD, the Christian societies have, well, most of them have their events in the chaplaincy. So Newman, the Catholic Society, has their dinner there on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, CU, as from last year, started having their event there. So CU is the Christian Union. And it's mostly Protestants, even though it's very non-denominational. Like, and so like I have one friend who's in my course, a very, very close friend, who just invited me to that. And she's in that society. And so I went, and then I made great friends there. But obviously, like, it would come up, the subject of faith. And conversations about that aren't always easy, especially, I think, in general. When you go and you go and meet someone who's different, you have to confront yourself to that difference and to the fact that, hey, this is someone whose vision of life, whose outlook and experiences is just something that I don't have. Yeah. So it can be rough, and you have to also be ready to like ask yourself questions about yourself. But I think it's been something that's so rich. Like, it's brought so many fruits, so many beautiful friendships as well. We've done collabs together. It's definitely one of the things that have really marked my year. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's the same for you, Dion, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's the first sort of experience I've had in a setting like that. I think I've always sort of just been in a very safe bubble. I think that was probably like one of the instances where the first instance where I, like, you know, really was able to just get out of myself. And like, actually, because when you it's quite an uncomfortable setting at times, because I'm not saying this is always the case, but a lot of the times it was a lot of them and not as much of us. Okay. That's not because it was planned to be that way. It just happened to be that way.
Yeah, like if we go to one of their events, for instance, like,
so there would be automatically there's more of them. So it can definitely be intimidating at times, because their sort of knowledge of things like scripture and things like just scripture, and they're very sort of just well versed on their faith, and so that's a little bit intimidating. But like you said, it's something that I think is very fruitful, because it pushes you to even if you don't know something that they ask you, it pushes you to go and actually find out
it's inspiring.
What that thing is. Yeah, exactly.
It's very inspiring.
And the thing is, it's not like it's not hostile. Okay. Like it's a very, very friendly environment. It's a very comfortable environment, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of differences between Catholics and Protestants, but there's a lot of similarities as well. And that's what sort of, I think, brings us together as friends. And that's why we are able to be friends with a lot of them. Yeah. But that's not to say that we're afraid to talk about the things that are those differences. Yeah. And those have been, I would say they've been fruitful for me. I think you would say they've been fruitful for you. And I think they would also say that it's been ridiculously fruitful for them.
I'd hope so.
I would say so. Hopefully.
They're probably going to watch as well.
Shout it. Shout it. Again. Yeah. But no, that's, definitely the same case for me. And definitely hope to do a lot more stuff with them this year as well. Yeah. Hopefully. And
I think especially in the context of Ireland, it's a very beautiful thing that's been happening. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with Ireland's history. And the fact that we're just able to come together as sons and daughters of God is beautiful. It's just beautiful.
So cool. Yeah. All right, that's really cool.
And also, coming back on, because we were talking about this because of Bible reading. I think the fact that I started reading my Bible also comes from a trip I did. Well, not a trip, a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. It was with my family and with a bishop who's a friend of my aunt's. And he, like, being in the Holy Land, it's like our guide was really good. And he would just reference, like, it's literally where the Bible happens. So it was just talking about the Bible all the time. And the bishop who was there and the guide, they were just like ramming in this idea of, you have to read your Bible. And it really made it so real. So it also comes from that, I'd say. Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
Interesting. That's cool. And what would you say are, like, differences between sort of French culture and Irish culture in terms of like maybe receptiveness to faith? Because I think probably my perception would be France is known as being like very secular, but my guess would be France is like more Catholic, I would think, in terms of people who practice actively. I would think it's more than Ireland, but what's been your experience?
Okay, so it's difficult to have a global vision, but I'd say for sure in Ireland, I mean, it can be very cultural, like you're Catholic, but it's more of a cultural thing. You don't necessarily go to, the Christmas and Easter Christians.
Yeah.
That those exist in France as well, just like but I don't know. I feel like the church, and I'm talking about the Catholic Church here, has also had like a rough time these past few years in France. A lot of scandals and things that have come up, and maybe it has kind of raised the question of faith again. I guess I've done more mission more speaking about my faith in Ireland, because I've also grown in that confidence and in that kind of missionary zeal this past year. I think in France, Catholicism is definitely something people know about. And it is called the eldest daughter of the church. But I don't know how receptive people would be.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also you find a lot of people who are just you just talk about God and immediately they just close up.
Right.
Like, just defense barriers.
They're like aggressively secular.
What's your approach to that though? When they do it?
I think the thing to do is to be very respectful, because when people react like that, it's because something has happened in their life, and something very personal. Like every time someone blocks up their heart, it's because something has hurt their heart. Yeah. So I think the best thing to do is just be like, the answer is always love. I think, just be very respectful, loving, and I think, responding to that with the same aggressiveness is definitely not the answer, even though sometimes, and not letting yourself be hurt by them as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we out of time?
Yeah, we're pretty much out of time. But that was really cool. Thank you for coming on.
I ramble a lot.
No, that was good. That was really interesting. Yeah. That was a cool perspective. So thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
Have you ever been to Chick-fil-A?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
No, like they say, when you say, oh, thank you, they say, my pleasure, instead of saying you're welcome.
It's not just not like a normal colloquial. No.
It is. What do you mean? It's
in my
fine
experience,
to say my pleasure.
No, it's nice. It's polite. It's optimal, but it is unusual.
My pleasure.
Have you ever said my pleasure?
I'm sure I have. It's not something I say.
It's not common though.
I think it's.
I always say my pleasure.
I feel like it's more common for people to be like, oh, no bother.
Yeah.
Irish people, maybe.
Yeah. But I think in general, I think it's
or no worries, man. That was awful. That was Australia.
That was terrible.
I thought that was Dublin.
No. It's okay. What can you do?
I didn't think anyone would have guessed Australian.
Well, we'll leave it to the listeners. You know what I mean? Yeah. Make sure you check out our YouTube page, Radio Maria Ireland. Tom's saying it's this camera. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next week, every Saturday at 2:00 p.m., myself and Dion will see you then. Thank you once again, Faustine, for joining us. God bless and take care.